Hey and welcome, I'm Dave and you are listening to Life Is Peachy, a nostalgia-fueled podcast that allows me to sit here and waffle on about the bands and the albums that became the soundtrack to my life. Growing up in the 90s and the early 2000s, and while we're at it, sharing a few memories from Her Name Is Murder Productions. So I think for most of us it goes without saying that if we think back to those formative years of our youth, our adolescence, the music was hitting hard.
It's time to kick ass and chew bubble gum.
So much so that it still remains ingrained within us. We all have our music, our anthems and experiences with nostalgia. That's why we're here. The connection to either the emotion or just the pure, simple enjoyment for the endless buffet of bands was truly something nothing can ever compare to.
I wish I knew how to quit you.
I put a lot of time and energy into these episodes, but it is a small comparison to what so many of these bands and artists go through to bring you and I this art, while going through their ups and downs, navigating through life, all the while in front of the public eye and its potential scrutiny. The music is made and delivered to us. The show must go on. Well, until it doesn't.
I get it. Don't crap where you eat. I understand.
And often, little do we know about any of it. Any of what it takes and what goes on behind that curtain to make so much of this music we love even possible. As listeners, as fans, generally we get the good stuff, the live show or the end result, that album. And served to us today on a silver platter is Superheist's infamous sophomore identical remote control reactions.
This is going to be our Superheist video. Some lies, some truths, some stuff.
Interview thingy.
I've always wanted to do this with DW too.
Now, if episode 20 is your first encounter with Superheist, my main aim by the end of it all is to have you join in on loving this band's music. Prior to their breakup in 2004, I would definitely rate Superheist as not only one of the best nu metal acts to come out of Australia, but easily one of the best in the world. And for that decade, we were treated to such an amazingly unique band, and at least within my circle, one that is responsible for and associated with so many great times and memories with friends, resulting in Superheist playing out some sort of soundtrack to life. Founded in 1993 by guitarist and main songwriter D.W. Norton and vocalist Roderick McLeod, who would perform under the moniker Burger, along with drummer Sean Pentecost, keyboardist Fatah Sabawi, and a collection of rotating members before landing on the classic era lineup with Drew Deadman on bass. Superheist began as a band sounding more like Fear Factory. Think Soul of a New Machine with those demanufactured choruses. The focus was to push the boundaries of heavy music while introducing pop and new wave inspired melodies and hooks. It would be this drive for melody that would eventually see them cross over to a nu metal sound and a more mainstream market, kicking things into a whole new gear and introducing the band to a far wider audience amidst that late 90s nu metal boom. This new sound resulted in the release of 2000's 8 Miles High EP and the band's highly anticipated debut album, The Prize Recruit, the following year. To best showcase the journey and evolution of Superheist's sound and eclectic back catalogue, it must be played out through example. So it has to be done.
Welcome to the Superheist Jukebox. Apocalypse Demo, 1994. Phone Matrix EP, 1997. Eight Miles High EP, 2000.
My redemption's the best intentions. I'm not degrading.
The Prize Recruit, 2001.
Would you say, Berger, that there's a little bit of a difference between 8 Miles High and the Prize Recruit?
I see a few subtle changes, but it's still Superheist, you know. The essence and core of what we're about. It's heavy guitars, melodic and catchy vocals, keyboard lines.
Fat grooves.
It's what Prize Recruit is.
Yeah, I agree totally. Some people have said to me, "Geez, this is different," but I don't see that at all. It could be a continuation of the same record as far as we're concerned.
Yeah.
Superheist never really stick to one specific formula. If a song's rocking, that's cool. That's good enough for us. What do you think?
It's all about songs.
Yep.
Peaking at number 12 on the ARIA albums chart, the Prize Recruit started to open that international door, and at this point in time, it looked like the world was about to come knocking. In Australia, these guys were considered a mainstream band, or as close as one could get, bringing heavy, down-tuned guitars to the mainstream masses.
You got a lot of nerve showing your face around here, Hauser.
Look who's talking.
Yeah, dude.
Anything from here seemed possible, and the fans were in it for the ride. Yet within a year of the Prize Recruits release, founding member and vocalist Berger was suddenly replaced by 21-year-old singer Joey Biro. Fans of the band weren't left much time to grieve or scratch their heads and wonder on what happened as the band powered on full steam ahead, releasing what would be 2002's critically acclaimed sophomore, Identical Remote Controlled Reactions. Since the band have returned to the stage in 2016, with D.W. Norton the only remaining original member, tracks from this album failed to grace the stage. Today, on the Life Is Peachy Podcast, we are here to bring this sophomore back into the light and learn more about what many fans hail as their favorite Superheist release. It's time to celebrate its well-deserved 20th anniversary with the man who was smack bang in the middle of this crazy whirlwind. That is, of course, the one and only Joey Biro. This episode is now beaming down from satellites. Joey, I'm so excited to welcome you and to hear your story. Thank you for your time and energy and joining the Life Is Peachy podcast.
Yeah, man, it's my pleasure. Thanks for looking us up, man, and getting in touch with us. It's exciting, man. It's good to do this kind of stuff.
Definitely, man. This album and this era of Superheist is long overdue for a celebration. Credit where credit is due.
I've had better.
This is an amazing release, and there's a lot of us out there very, very excited to explore it with you right now.
Awesome, brother. Good stuff, man. You know what you're doing, man. Like, I just trust you. With artists or like videographers or like people even giving me a haircut, I'm like, hey man, you're the artist. I've painted you a vision of what I want. I trust you. And every time I do that, man, it just comes out awesome.
Made with love, for the love of music, man.
I trust you, man. You're a good dude, and let's go. Let's get it.
20 years of identical remote control reactions. When you hear that sentence, what's the first thing that comes to mind?
It blows my mind, man, to be honest, in a nutshell, that it was 20 years ago. It trips me out. I feel grateful, man. And to be honest, when I hear that word identical remote control reactions, I can't help but think how profound the album title was and the lyrics that were made then, you know, and how much they speak into the now. The depth of that album is pretty special.
And memories can be distorted. They're just an interpretation, they're not a record. And they're irrelevant if you have the facts.
Now, before joining Superheist as an official member in 2001, you were actually brought in quite suddenly to fill in and perform vocals for shows on the Channel V Music Bus regional tour throughout Victoria and New South Wales in Australia. And I've read that you knew all the songs and seamlessly stepped up to the challenge.
Yeah.
What was your connection to Superheist music prior to these shows? And if you were a fan, can you talk a little about what you enjoyed about the music from that fan perspective?
So the band I was in was called From the Inside. We all collectively had a deep-seated respect for the Superheist music, being 8 Miles High. That whole EP really spoke to us profoundly, and then not long after that, Prize Recruit was on the shelves. For us, we were like, man, these guys are Australian. We love this style of music, and these guys, they're shoving it up the big guns in the US. And everyone in the band was just pretty famed at Superheist. We loved the band. We loved what they were doing. We'd go to shows, and Ben, our guitarist, he was a very strong PR person. He had connections with D.W. Norton, Richie Norton, who played Superheist, one of the founding members. Richie and Ben agreed that Richie would record our EP, The Back Beach. in Rye, and then Richie loved the EP, so he asked us if we'd go on a regional tour of Victoria, 3 or 4 shows, with the Heist being the first and 4 day.
Fast forward to this now infamous crossroads situation in the history of Superheist. How did the opportunity to fill in as frontman actually fall into your lap, and at what point did that extend out to an official invitation to join the band as a permanent vocalist?
We interrupt this program to bring you a special report.
I'd come off stage and I was waiting to watch Superheist, and there was issues going on with the band and with Rod McLeod, who was the singer at the time. And we got the wind that there was something going on, that Virgo couldn't talk, something had gone on with his voice, something like that. I'm not sure, probably to go into it any deeper than that, I don't want to disrespect. There was stuff going on, and it was just a bit chaotic backstage. They asked Wes from Another Race, who was the frontman of the second band, if he could sing because they needed someone to fill in. Wes said, I can't do it. Richie came to me and he said, will you fill in for us?
The following excerpt is from Heavy Handed's interview with D.W. Norton.
Another Race, the main support band, they were just finishing up and he's refusing to go on. I'm like, well, man, if you're not going to go on, I'm going to find someone who's going to, because this is a sold-out all-ages show in Berwick. These kids have paid all their money. It'll be the death of us. We can't do this. So I go and speak to the singer from Another Race and I'm like, dude, do you know any of the words to our songs? He's like, oh man, a couple, but can't do a whole show, plus I'm pooped from my show. I go, fair enough. So I go into the opening band's dressing room and I'm like, who's your singer? He's like, I'm a singer. I go, do you know any of our songs? He goes, yeah, I know all of them. I go, you know all the words? He goes, yeah, I know all the words. I go, good, you're singing. He's like, what? I go, yeah, you'll be fine. Come on. Berger's sick, he can't sing, you're singing. Throw this guy completely to the wolves. But we get on stage and we kick into the first song. We have to apologise to the crowd, obviously. Berger's crook, this guy's filling in. They're all like, this is shit, you know. We kick into the first song and it's like no one gave a rat's. They just all went berserk. They're all singing the words. They're all loving it. And they're all loving Joey for getting up and having a go.
Fans are going, Superheist. It's just going on. Anywhere from 1,000, 2,000 kids at this show. I knew the majority of the stuff. I said, I'll do it. Did that show. It went pretty crazy. And then I was just buzzing. I was high as you can be. There's no drug that you get that high. It's a spiritual thing. Just smiling from ear to ear, you know what I mean? Then I got a phone call from DW saying, man, thanks for that. It was rad. Everyone's so stoked. It went off. And he seemed pretty overwhelmed by the whole situation. And he asked me if I would committing to doing Channel V, Bendigo, Shepparton and Albury, 3 shows on national TV. I said I'd speak to the band first and just honour them. And the band's like, just be careful. We don't want to lose you. And I said, no, it's just be a good opportunity for me to promote the band. And I'm just going to be really honest about all this so we can get the whole story. I rang DW back and I said, yeah, man, look, we can do it. As long as I can plug my band, I'm happy to do it. Bendigo, Shepparton was second. It went off. We jumped in the van after show and everyone's like, wow, that was dope. And the band's like high-fiving me and the band's going crazy. And Richie's on the phone to Stu McQueen, who was our A&R guy at Shock Records. Stu was going, mate, that was crazy good. And I could hear what was going on. I was talking and then Richie stepped out of the van and they went for a walk and I could feel it, man. I could feel something was going on.
Yippee-ki-yay, motherfucker.
the call was made, the offer was put to me by the band. They wanted to sack Burger, and they wanted to offer me the opportunity to be the frontman for Superheist.
You are not you. You're me.
Every time I hear you breathe selfish, I don't wanna fall in again. Every time I seem to look back, I revert to times I wish that I'd have been. Every ounce and piece of respect I gave, you spat out. You sent me in a violent spin, but here I am. You say, get away! I can't stand the sight of you waiting. I taste your bitter embrace, suffocated on the display. Just when I really thought the worst.
Shepparton was wild. You can get back footage on it. When I look back on it now, I kind of cringe because vocally I've come a lot further than I was back then, especially with the scream and stuff. I understand the difference between a real scream and a scream that you do because someone else did it. And when you're trying to do something because someone else did it, it's not the same. It's got to come from within your soul. It's got to come from a place of conviction.
Yeah, it's interesting that you just made that point because it definitely leans into something I've always been pretty curious about, singing someone else's narrative. My first encounter with you fronting Superheist was Big Day Out 2002. Firstly, what a show. What a statement. You guys were playing main stage, and Big Day Out's setup has two of them side by side. One band plays while the other stage is either being packed down or set up, and so I was front bar, left stage, waiting for Amen to play, who at the time were definitely my favorite obsession, and Superheist were before them, and they played next door, right stage. And so from where I was, I couldn't see a visual, but of course I could hear just fine, and I was blown away by how much it all made sense sonically with you singing Burger's songs. And this is coming from a massive, massive Burger fan. But in that moment, I was won over. And Superheist obviously already had such a dedicated fan base, a signature sound, not only musically, but definitely vocally too. And prior to you joining, Superheist, for them at least, featured a somewhat steady core member lineup that represented the face of the music. And no doubt at the time, you must have been aware of that band dynamic you were entering, but also the frontman shoes you were stepping into. What was it like for you officially joining the band and having to earn your stripes around the country, not only for the fans, but also with the members of Superheist? You were also quite young at the time.
Yeah, man. I was so young and so energetic and so encouraged and so positive. I was electric, man. I was alive, living in this dream. But it was real because every time I pinched myself, no bullshit was there. So I remember stepping into it. I just went straight in. We didn't rehearse. We didn't do any of that stuff, really. And to be honest, man, I was quite unprepared. I didn't have the experience that these guys had. 21-year-old gets to fill in for the best Australian band in their eyes, you know, one of the best bands in the world at the time, in my eyes. It was just a surreal experience.
If it's stuff for us, it's stuff for them. You trust me?
Of course I trust you.
Close your eyes.
I
felt like I fit in the band really quickly because the guys were grateful to have a new frontman that loved people, that loved fans, that loved to hang out, have a good time, and it was positive, and I didn't have that cocky attitude when I joined the band. So being alongside these guys was such a great opportunity, and I was so blown away, you know. Filling in for Rod, I was always often comparing myself, and to be completely honest, when I compared myself vocally to Rod, I felt like I was inadequate a lot of the time. And when I compare now my voice to Rod's back then, I still think that Rod held the flame, the torch, man, you know, back then, and I was just like this little candle, you know what I mean, just flicking under his shadow. I didn't think of myself as an incredible vocalist. I didn't think of myself as better than Rod. Actually, I just felt like it was fate or whatever, that I was the guy to join the band and fill in that season for Superheist and do my best to honour that band and to honour their history and to be a part of the history and to step in those chapters of the Superheist book and make something good for the fans that they would appreciate and love.
Yeah, I've talked about this before, but member change is often such a make or break situation with any band, and can definitely be a tough pill to swallow for a lot of fans and even the industry, let alone if we're talking about vocalist replacement.
Yeah.
And let's be honest, this band is no stranger to that changing lineup, let alone frontman. As of 2022, the band have had 4 singers.
Wow.
The latest actually being D.W. Norton himself, and the Wikipedia lists around a dozen past members. And if I'm being honest, for me, Superheist existed from 1993 to 2004. When they announced their return in 2016, of course I was beyond excited. I couldn't believe it. It was like a dream coming true, something so very similar to that wonderful feeling a lot of us went through just recently with the Sunk Loto reunion. And here's a shameless plug for any new listeners. Episode 12 looks back on Society Anxiety with Sunk Loto guitarist Luke McDonald. If you're a fan, be sure to check it out. But, as I was saying, OG Superheist carried a very similar association for me, and nothing but respect for D.W. Norton keeping it alive and waving that heist flag since '93. It's truly amazing.
Some motherfuckers are always trying to ice skate uphill.
My brother and I were lucky enough to document Superheist's first show in nearly 12 years at Max Watts in Melbourne, and this resulted in the Don't Call It a Comeback mini documentary. And during these early shows, the only song from the Biro era to grace the post-breakup setlist was album opener Liberate. From here, Her Name Is Murder Productions went out on the Raise Hell tour in 2017, and what followed was the feature-length documentary The Fight Back. A look back on the history of the band with a focus on the post-breakup incarnation. By this stage, no songs from Identical remote-controlled reactions were played live again.
To be or not to be? Not to be.
It was an absolute honor to work with another band I spent my adolescence drooling over. And within this experience, I soon realized my heart was really with exactly that. The Burger / Biro era of the band that dominated those glory days of my youth. So there's a little story about my experience working with a different lineup of Superheist. And cool, if we go back 20 years, you of course were entering an established lineup and chemistry, performing vocals based on a previous singer's range and skill set, and lyrics penned by others. How were you able to connect to lyrics and vocals that weren't yours, and what was that like for you?
Because I was a fan, you know, when you listen to something and it moves you, and you can connect with the lyric, the emotion, or the spirit, or the soul, whatever you want to call it, energy, you know, like Slide and Have Your Way, it just grabs your heart. Bullet, you know, I've been there, I've been hurt, you know what I mean? So for the songs like that I was able to really connect with and sing, I was there. I felt like what Burger had written was for me, so I could connect with that. But with songs like Check Your Head Up and Crank the System, songs a bit like that, I was singing someone else's song. Burger's range and his sound of his voice is a lot different from mine in certain songs. I didn't have the maturity of my vocals.
Burger had this really unique ability to almost perform vocals in juxtaposition. One moment he's like this Aussie larrikin with such bravado and a sense of arrogance, and then before you knew it, he had you feeling it in the heart, for real. It was both a strange yet completely enticing style. And the music often matched this too. One moment you're immersed in this beautiful, nostalgia-laced hook, riffs and melodies that almost felt like a photo album of your own life's memories flashing right before your eyes. And then suddenly it transitioned into a verse or keyboard-driven riff that was now light, almost jovial in tone, and on another vibe altogether.
Don't take too long. Don't take too long. It's more than you can't take. It's more than you can't break. It's more than I can't understand.
But somehow, Burger was really great at navigating through that and pulling it off in a way that didn't make the song feel scattered and all over the place.
Copped heaps of shit, people that were pissed off that Burger was gone, and I'd stepped in, you know, and I copped a lot of stuff, a lot of flack. As a 21-year-old, I wasn't mature enough to sort of understand I guess more so their viewpoint in depth, or to sort of just let it wash away.
Sure.
That definitely impacted me, and I guess mentally that would have had an effect on me. When I was playing live, I was like, this dude was singing in this cover band with the real musicians, but that's how I felt, man, to be honest, in that time. Yeah, it was tough, man, some days, but I had a lot of fun. Incredibly precious and special.
It's definitely an intense perspective to hear about the pressures placed upon yourself, by yourself and others, and that I imagine would have been difficult to walk through regardless. And on the flip side of that were the fans, like myself, that absolutely loves your contribution and time with Superheist and this resulting album. So with that in mind, how did it feel to connect with those fans and be a part of Superheist's continuing momentum?
Oh man, it was the best. I don't know if I ever come and met you personally, but I would spend hours after shows just talking to people. The guys would be like, hey man, we got to go. And I'm like, yeah, just hold on. I'll just be there signing stuff, chatting to people, getting to know them, thanking them, you know what I mean? It was the best, man. That stuff for me, the culture of music and what community can come of it, it can be friends for life kind of stuff. I talk to heaps of old Superheist fans. I connect with heaps of people, man, still to this day. We chat about life, give advice to each other.
That's really nice to hear, man.
It's like looking in a mirror, only not.
That, to me, it means everything today. That's what music should be about. We came together as equal people in those moments. It wasn't that guy was better than this guy or she or this or that. It was just one.
The Joey Biro song era begins.
Start the music.
And here we are, brother, because of that album. I'm here with you, man, and having friendships like that, it reminds me what music is about for me, to connect with people through my experiences in life, with other guys in the band that wrote some of the lyrics as well. It's just that they want to share this beautiful thing that they have, and when people receive it, it unites us, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does. That's definitely why we're all here today. Your connection with the fans and your equation in the band's chemistry has lasted 20 years strong, be it all from one album. So speaking of this music, identical remote control reactions, leading in towards those early stages of writing new material, what was your position in the band in terms of input and being heard with ideas? Did Superheist already have a concept with where they wanted their highly anticipated second album to go prior to you joining? Or were you a part of building that world with them?
When I first joined the band, I came to the time where we were writing. DW had sent me a bunch of demos, completely open for me to write them. And it didn't take long, and it just happened. They were like, yeah, this kid's in the band. He's going full speed, full speed ahead. That's what we called the tour anyway. Yeah, they were just like, yeah, man, we believe in you, kid. Just go hard. And I did a lot of the songs, a lot of the lyrics. Yeah, man, that was awesome that they trusted me. I felt pretty special in the heart when they said, here you go, man. These are the demos. Write them. I'm like, oh, I'm going to be writing Superheist tracks. This is crazy.
consensus from those collectively on board with all of this. The fans and the critics praised your powerful, emotional performance because it was unique to you and, in retrospect, unique to this album and era of Superheist. And it's because of this, identical remote controlled reactions in many ways proved to be a far stronger release than The Prize Recruit. It took that signature Superheist staple to a more mature place in mood and an overall weight in sound.
Of your time, about the same duration as the rest of your life.
You give me reason to compare. The situation becomes clear. Now I see straight through a paranoid society. Treat me like I'm a god. You point your fingers at me.
With regards to this evolution, vocally speaking, what do you think you brought to the band, and how would you compare and contrast your style with previous singer Burger?
Comparing it might be a bit difficult, but just bear with me.
Sure.
So I've always been, hard on sleeve type guy, stayed how it is, vulnerable, honest, willing to go the extra mile, call my own shit out. You know what I mean?
Just say it how it is.
And if I've been through pain, I'm not afraid to be vulnerable and express that to someone else, and also identify and say, hey, you know what? I've been there too. So for me, you listen to IRCR, it's very raw, it's very vulnerable, still very real. I guess because I was so young in the band and I was actually quite heavy using drugs since I was 19, I guess a lot of it was a wrestle with addiction. A lot of it was a wrestle with who am I as a character? Where am I? Where am I going? What does life mean? How did I get here? How did I get into this place? And it was just me being open, honest, vulnerable behind a microphone or behind a pen and paper. And it was just sharing about my experience in life.
Treat me like I'm a god. You point your fingers at me.
Burger was very crafty with his lyric choices. You see a lot of the lyrics that they used. There were some words in there that I wouldn't have even bloody known what they meant. It was more artistically put together and with a bit more experience in life. I'm not sure if he wrote all of them.
Well, take a song like Scars from IRCR. That extreme emotional delivery of narrative and vocals over top probably one of Superheist's more darker masterpieces. Right there is a great example of what makes this album so unique, because I don't really feel that existed, like this at least, to this extent on previous releases. This album is cohesive and consistent in tone. And Burger definitely had a lot of moments of sincerity and that sense of vulnerability sprinkled throughout the back catalogue. And yeah, if we're talking musically heavy. In a conventional sense, there is, of course, the Apocalypse and the Chrome Matrix EP. But what I'm talking about here, I guess, is that emotional heavy.
I hear.
Why does the score have to be like this? Come see the blood on the edge of my fingertips. On the edge of the world, I am waiting for you.
I imagine most of the fans that really connected with you in this album were the Superheist fans that, along with enjoying what had already been done, were also seeking and ready for that deeper connection to the band and the music.
In comparison to me, man, I was just raw emotion. It wasn't about appeasing the record label. It wasn't about appeasing anybody else. It was about being me and being only me at the 21 years of age, or 22 or 23, however old I was. Just being me, just letting that out. There was a bit of pain there at the time. There was a bit of confusion there. I was kind of a bit lost, lacking a bit of experience.
What memories do you have from the recording sessions of Identical Remote Controlled Reactions?
Me and Patar used to party a lot. Me and Patar were kind of the black sheep with the band. But legit, we were the guys that would disappear for days on end and just get high and get on whatever we were using at the time. I remember going to Backbeach to demo for the album. I remember thinking, man, I'm blazed. I'm absent in the mind. I don't know what's going on. I've been awake for a few days, and we were driving, and I looked at Patar in the rearview mirror as he was driving, and I was in the back seat, and I was like, mate, how in God's name, how in the hell are we going to do this?
Portraits of anger, refuse, receive, reborn respect. We face the danger, we become stronger. They never ever change, no. They never ever change, no. They never ever change, no. They never ever change, no.
But I went in there and I just let it go, man, and it worked. Everyone was just blown away. Dear Enemy was written. That's something I wrote at a hotel room. It was special because I'd never written a song by myself with the chords and all that stuff. But I remember also another moment, we were at Sing Sing doing the album, and I remember getting in that vocal booth. I remember Richie's like, dude, just let it go. Scream, man. Scream like you're hurting. Just let it go. He was there and he was encouraging me. We worked well together. He pushed me hard in the studio, and I just let this scream go. It was in Dear Enemy. I looked over after the scream, and there was a couple of friends there. Richie's like cheering me on and just clapping and sitting there with their mouths open,
I remember that. That's one of the most beautiful moments for me. I learned something about me in that time. That was a special moment, man. Bernard Benning at Sing Sing Studio came in and listened, and he was like, wow, man, this is crazy. This sounds crazy. So I was like, yeah, pretty sure that's Bernard Benning sitting right there complimenting the band. Bit of mind-blowing thing.
Yep, so there's that. There may not really be an answer for this, purely because who knows what could have happened and what the outcome could or would have been. But hypothetically, how much do you think your drug use played a role in terms of your vocal performance and what we hear on the album, as opposed to, let's say, you going in there sober?
Oh, look, man, yeah, I think because I wasn't using when I was in there, I went in there scattered. I went in there just relaxed, like my body was relaxed. Being awake for 3 days, and when you're scattered, you're kind of gentle. But then when someone throws a match on the fire, boom, and that's what happened. I went in there and I went above and beyond. I guess being relaxed is not the most important thing to do. Like, you can pump yourself up, but it's not manageable on a daily basis unless you want to die. To smash the alcohol, the drugs, some people do it to get away with it their whole life. Yeah, I do think it definitely has something to do with it, because now when I'm relaxed and I go in knowing who I am, why I'm there, what I'm supposed to do, what my role is, I can do it. So it can be attained without drugs.
There you go.
100%.
Besides the live performance of Ready to Burn at the Big Day Out Festival in 2002, fans' first official taste of new Superheist material with yourself was the top 30 single 7 Years. A fan favorite for sure, which leads me to ask a two-part question from IRCR. What are some of your favorite songs in terms of your vocal performance? And what are some of your favorite songs in terms of an all-round song?
Love the way my voice sounded in Empire when I listened to it. Still to this day, it makes me cry. You know, if you want to call it prophetically, there's so much there, man. Sean sat down with me and helped me write these lyrics. All the beautiful arty lyrics in there that I didn't even really understand too much what they were until I asked Sean what it meant. But we decided that Sean had a great melody for that and a great idea with vocals and lyrics for that. Most of that song was Sean's idea, the melody and the lyrics.
I'd love to just take this moment to pay respect to Sean Pentecost, aka Sean Heist, founding drummer of Superheist, who unfortunately passed away August 18th in 2020. Man, thank you for the music and for being such a huge part of the soundtrack of my life. Much love.
Will it bring you to your knees? Will it change you? The memory will fade. That certainty it gave to me. Passion.
Do you remember how you were feeling on the eve of the album's release?
I was so excited. I couldn't wait for this album to come out. Everyone was so pumped about the album. Wow. It's going to be huge. We're talking about singles. I felt like the luckiest human being on earth, man. So grateful and so excited, so humble that I have that opportunity and I could record this amazing album with such an incredible band. My favourite song off that album would have to be Empire, I'd say. And that's holistically. Drew playing the bass solo and Richie plays that really cool riff, you know. Every time Drew would play that solo before the end and build up an outro, an out-of-body experience would happen, man. I can't explain it. Maybe you understand what I'm talking about, but it's one of those moments where you close your eyes and nothing else matters. In that moment, it's gotcha. Scars is the most personal song for me. Vocally, I love the way my voice sounded. I love the power in that song. I love the vulnerability. Scars was written about a friend of mine who got paranoid schizophrenia, drug-induced psychosis. He was a dear friend of mine. He went to a pretty dark place. He's doing really well now, but funny that song, it could have been someone else singing that song about me, you know. Not too long after I was in that same place, maybe not as visually messed up, but within I was covering a pretty dark space. Another track I really enjoyed my vocals in was Beaming Down from Satellites. A real clear vocal and songs like To Die For as well. It was just me. 7 years, a little bit of rap in that, sort of more catered towards what Burger's voice might sound like. But yeah, the grunt in that song, I love the grunt. I went to a place I never thought I could go in that song. But yeah, man, they're my standout tracks.
I mean, it's a solid album. Obviously, there's always a conscious decision when picking a lead single, especially when you factor in something like a member change, let alone a new frontman, a new voice for the band. Do you recall the thought process between everyone in deciding to introduce you and the album to the world with 7 years?
Because we were signed, the powerful source, the voice, was definitely the A&R guy and management. And they were all pushing for 7 years and Dignified to be the front runners for single 1, single 2. Dignified Rage, a lot of people hate that.
Listen, we need to have a talk about Vanderhoff. The fact is, he's the sponsor. And you signed a contract guaranteeing him certain concessions, one of them being a spot on the show. Well, that's where I see things just a little differently. Contract or no, I will not bow to any sponsor.
I didn't really get much of a say. The band didn't get as much of a say as they should have. If I'm wrong, then I do apologise, but I do believe that there was a mechanical hand against a human hand, and the mechanical hand was always going to win, being the record company. So that was their decision.
Look, you can stay here in the big leagues and play by the rules, or you can go back to the farm club and roar. It's your choice.
I'm 90% sure that they wanted it that way, and they got it.
Okay then, so what would you have chosen if it were up to you?
There's no question now. If it was up to me, I definitely would have picked To Die For to be one of the singles. Probably would have kept 7 years there. It would have been 7 years To Die For and either Empire or New Enemy. Kept it real heavy, you know what I mean? Kept it heavier. With those tracks being the new face of Superheist, the new singer, I believe that we could have kept our sound there. We'd kept it heavy, we would have kept it raw. It would have been emotive. Yeah, I think if we went with those tracks, man, it would have been a bit different. But it is what it is, man.
With regards to that mechanical hand, did the record label have any other effects over things creatively when it came to you and your voice and your output within the music? Did they have any other hold or any say over your artistic direction vocally?
No, they didn't. Not at all.
Well, that's good. Because the end of the IRCR timeline is a bit messy, to clarify, how long were you officially in Superheist?
I kind of get the last little section of Superheist. I know we were in Mackay and we were at X Games tour, and it was a massive tour. I'm probably estimating that I was in the band 3 years, maybe not even 3 years. I don't know, man.
That's a whirlwind, hey?
Yeah, something like that. Maybe even longer. I'm not too sure because it went so fast. I blinked my eyes and it was kind of finished.
It's really strange to realize everything was jam-packed into a 3 or so year time period, because so much happened with and within Superheist during this era that it naturally feels like it should be such a larger space of time.
Just because there are things I don't remember doesn't make my actions meaningless.
So 2004, we went to the States.
Okay. I kind of forgot that Superheist went to the States with both Berger and yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah, let's quickly talk about that then. You know, coming from Australia and playing internationally, the US, of all places, one of the hardest markets for any Aussie band to crack. It's safe to say Superheist have had a rocky road with trying to break into the US, and a lot of that turbulent Berger era history is covered in the Fight Back, and that is available on YouTube.
really took off from there. Started playing every major festival, and we're on TV, on cover of magazines, we're in the charts. Prize Recruit ended up going gold. Yeah, that record was really the peak for Superheist. We started to get interest from labels overseas. In 2001, we went to the United States of America, Los Angeles, California, and we did some showcases for some labels over there. That one showcase turned into about 5 different showcases. We garnered quite a bit of interest from a number of labels. We had some negotiations happening to sign us to a US record deal. And then, as everyone knows, September 11, 2001. And effectively from that point, America shut down to the rest of the world, and we didn't really hear anything back, and we kind of lost our chance at getting a record deal in the US. That was pretty tough on the band because we put everything into that, and we were really trying hard to get that deal across the line. It didn't happen. We lost our vocalist after that, Berger. We ended up with a guy called Joey Biro.
Now we're killing the voids, covert pumping the toys.
Going over to the States post-Prize Recruit, how was that experience for you?
The lead up to flying to LAX and then getting there and meeting the crew over there, Gary Avila, who managed Papa Roach when they did Infest. I think that album sold 14 million. Doing national Channel V thing, that was an amazing feeling. Knowing I was going to do that was an incredible feeling, but then take it to the next level and you're like, I'm going to be walking the streets and playing in clubs with River Phoenix Overdosed, and I'm going to be playing where Seven Dust have played and where Cypress Hill, and going to these bars and just to hang out and have a meal, and they're all there, sit next to me.
Wow, dude.
It was like mental, man. Mental, and intensify that word. I don't even know what that word is, but tripping balls. No way am I here? What is going on? I was this little fish in an ocean hiding under a rock looking at all these incredible big ass whales and fish going past. These guys are the game changer. These guys are the real deal. By the time I got there and realised, I didn't think I was good enough at the time. I was pretending that I thought I was good enough, but that band that played before us was killer, and I don't think I'm that good. And I'm just going to be really honest, you can't fake it till you make it in this industry. People see it, man. They can smell it. Now hone in on your ass and they'll know what you're made of. I mean, I was buzzing to be there. I don't think I was ready to be there.
With those years of solid touring under your belt and writing commencing on what would have been the beginnings of a third Superheist album and the second with you, when did the cracks start to show? I guess I'm asking, at what point did you feel or start feeling unhealthy in Superheist?
Look, I'm just going to say it blatantly, like we were fighting, Richie and I, there was a lot of stuff too competitive, cocky ego stuff. Started to get a little bit old news. North Queensland tour, everyone was on ecstasy and we were just cool. Richie didn't take drugs, he just drank. I started leaving and going and hang out with other people and coming back early in the morning just in time to sort of get in the bus and take off. Cracks started showing then pretty severely, but prior to that, I could feel my voice deteriorating, like I was getting weaker, not looking after the voice, smoking weed, drinking cold stuff straight after gigs. That Mackay, Krusty's X Games tour, pretty ridiculous amount of drugs. Mates that would come and rock up and throw free drugs at me. I would still hold my own on shows, heads a bit frayed. And their souls with it. Crack started to show within me. It doesn't take much to turn on each other. It was becoming a competition. Who could be with the most chicks? There was jealousy and all that sort of stuff going on, and just turned rubbish.
Was there an actual defining moment when you thought you just had to leave the band?
Tara and I, we almost punched each other out. Someone had to split us up, and that was in Mackay. Our van broke down on the beginning of the freeway, and it was so hot, and we were all like dehydrated, messed up, and we had to wait hours. And I was like, you know what? I'm done. In my heart, those words echoed most of the way home. I'm done.
keep my head straight. I try to keep positive thoughts in my mind. I gotta rise above the rest and fly with the angels. And fly with the angels.
You get home, and that's it. That's it.
Man, that would have been a long trip back from Mackay.
Oh, a long trip, all right, brother.
What were those immediate months like for you once leaving Superheist, and how did you come back from that dark period in your life?
Look, man, I went home, being really close to my mum, and I always have been, and I always will be. My mum was and is one of my best friends. She's done a lot for me. I went home and had that chat with her, and she said, look, you look empty, son. And I just said, Mum, I'm done. Those words that echoed that whole way home, they came out. And I said that to her. So then I told the guys, I didn't even vocalize it over the phone. I just sent a message out to all the A&R guys, everyone that was involved in that sector of Superheist. And I just said, I'm not well. This is not good for me. I can't do this anymore. I did it was gutless. I didn't have the energy to argue with the guys about it because I knew that our shows were sucking. It wasn't about the fans anymore. I knew that all it was about was feeding our egos, getting drunk, getting high, and acting like dickheads. And I thought, this isn't for me anymore. This isn't what I signed up for. And this isn't who I was when I signed up. I was lost. This is bad. This has to stop. You know what I mean? So I did what I did back then. Do I wish I did it another way in person?
It's quite surreal now hearing this because I do remember the last time I saw Superheist live not too long before the eventual breakup, and it was at a venue in Brisbane called the Princess Theatre, and in using a metaphor, I had my beer goggles on in the sense you guys could do no wrong. At the time, yeah, it was an amazing show, but in retrospect, that night did have such a strange vibe. I remember vividly Fatah playing the whole set with a champagne or wine bottle in his hand, and he appeared wasted and seemed to be making mistakes. And there was some undercurrent of tension on stage. It all just seemed a bit stressful. And I remember thinking, you guys should be playing a way bigger venue than this. You're freaking Superheist. But yeah, at the time, I guess I didn't really see it like that and missed a lot of what now seems more clear.
Yeah. I gave it a crack, man. Did my best.
Yeah, you just did the best you could at the time, and all the while you were, as you said, scattered, lost. Also going back to the fact that you were in your early 20s, I mean, for anyone, that's a crazy experience to navigate through and process those intense situations, let alone dealing with substance abuse. I don't want to dwell too much longer on this side of the coin, but I did have one more question. Earlier in the interview, you told a really sweet story about the very early show in Shepparton and everyone jumping into the van, high-fiving each other, buzzing from the euphoria of the amazing show, the fan reaction, and this new electrified chemistry and connection that was starting with the five of you. How does it go from something like that, from such a high to a crushing low? In layman's terms, was it the substance abuse? You talked about competition, ego, and things like that. Obviously, people were going through their own shit, but my question is, How did it truly go from such one extreme to the other?
Yeah, it's losing sight of vision and the purity of the vision. Why are we doing this? What's it about? Is it about just us? Got our head so far up our ass that all we can see is what we had for dinner. For me, and I for a lot of the guys, there was a disconnect internally within the band.
Does it distract you? Does it obstruct you? Does it control you? Add and subtract you. And I'll break these ties. Paralyze the light. The blank face and a bitter taste goes a long, 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 long way. And in 7 hours or 7 years, will anyone know I don't care about circumstance? I don't care about circumstance. Not that you don't agree.
I don't blame anybody in the band for me doing the things I did. I think Drew told me a while ago, he goes, man, I should have watched out for you. We should have said no. We should have put you back in line. He goes, we're a lot older than you. And I said, I appreciate that. And that meant a lot to hear that. Substance abuse was part of it, but everyone was sort of on a different page and on a different level. And we didn't come together for the music anymore. There was the bickering, the lying, the deceiving, the manipulation. All that stuff went into a bottle and then the bottle blew up.
And the band fell apart while in the stages of writing new material. Some of these unreleased songs would eventually see the light of day through 2004's New Rare Live compilation album. Can we talk a little bit about those songs?
Superheist was heading to a place where I would then be me. It was more than you. Superheist with Joey Biro as a frontman. Hole in the Head, Vultures, and Get a Life.
And were there more songs than that? Even maybe instrumentals that never had a chance for vocals?
So The Road that Cam from Body Jar did was one of them. There was more.
And how did it feel at the time with having that evolution and this new chapter in the Superheist sound? And especially for you as frontman, did it still feel good that fans were eventually able to hear these unreleased songs, even with all the stuff that had been going on behind the scenes?
Bittersweet, man. It would have been good to be able to play those songs live and tell the story. Get a Life. That was a special song. People would say, you know, Joey Biro sucks, bring back Burger, and they would say things. Some people were bringing me and pranking me and making fun of me. And that song, Get a Life, was written to these people. Can't you feel it? Man, we're all the same. When I hear music, man, I want to feel something. And if I don't feel anything, what's the point, really?
And the wheels revolved and the world evolved around us, slipping through this chemistry, this apathy. And I can see the real truth up above. It comes in waves, was in that night.
It's still about the journey and always will be. But I've learned who I am as a singer now, an artist. I found my voice, found what works for me to showcase who I am, who I've become now as a singer-songwriter. I found metal, new metal, prog metal, rock, hard rock, whatever you want to call it. The music holds the scream and the emotion and releases it all, builds it up. It takes hold of you, man. Less is more a lot of the time. I don't have to be like anybody else. I don't want to sound like anybody else in this journey. I've really got to know who I am alone, away from everyone, away from this, away from that, away from them, it, he, she, the corporation, the input of anybody. Now I know who I am. Let that person that I know release a sound. I've had to go through an immense amount of suffering, knowing that nearly 20 years of ISCR, and I humble myself and make things that were wrong right and apologise to people I hurt. I have no regrets. What's the point? I can't rewind and change the story. It is what it is. I have no regrets.
Save me from falling in this state I'm in. Catch me, I swear
come to understand the beauty of music and the beauty of each member, to honour each other, respect each other, and to let each other express their part to make the band something special.
Wow, there's a lot in there.
There's a lot there, bro. There's a lot there. You can cut it out and choose which you like.
At what point post-Superheist did you begin the process of forgiving yourself and working towards a state of clarity and peace within yourself?
Growing understanding. When I was young, I resented my father. Now I'm a man, I understand what it's like to be a father and understand what it's like to struggle and mess up. 2014, I ended up going to rehabilitation, struggling with methamphetamine, what they call ice in this country. I'd been using that pretty intently, probably since I was 19. I've had my first encounter with intravenous drugs. Fast forward through the time to 2014, 2 years, I ended up living on the streets and in and out of crack dens, ended up in rehab. Spent a lot of time healing in that place and closed my room on a farm in Gippsland, closed my door and I was praying, I became a Christian in that place and I began confessing the things I'd done. A lot of those things came out and a lot of tears were shed. That heavy jacket and those heavy shoes that I was wearing, I was able to get that off the chest. Find some redemption and some real healing with counselling, the leaders that were there and the missionaries that were there that really helped me out. There's even certain things that, you get flashbacks of. Man, I'm so sorry with that. But my pivotal moment was alone in my room. July 2014, I kneeled down and I just prayed for forgiveness and it was like a flashback of all the things that happened. And I was like, oh, give me for that, give me for that. It's still a journey now, but that was the ultimate time where I was able to lay it all down. The people I hurt and ultimately forgive myself for doing it. That was a longer process.
So what I really want to ask you now, after hearing some of this story and journey, what is it like for you to create music today?
I've got a great bunch of guys in the band with me and they all write and they're all super pro and super talented at what they do. I was writing in rehab and I haven't stopped writing, so I've got a lot of songs. So now to write, it's just in the moment. It happens so easily when I just be in the moment, present. Definitely a much more natural thing now than what it was back then.
Awesome, man. That's so nice to hear. Okay. Random question here. Does this ever happen to you within friends, co-workers, or whatever it may be, where you get recognized as one of the singers from Superheist?
Yeah. My boss, massive Superheist fan. Well, when I say massive, he knows Superheist.
Yeah, there's a lot of us out there, let's be real. It doesn't surprise me.
Oh, man. He goes to me, "You're in Superheist?" And I'm like, "Yeah, man. I was the second frontman, you know? The one everyone hated."
Oh, no way, man.
No. And then, and he's like, "Dude, no way." Because you guys were pretty huge. And I'm like, "I think we did all right, man." And he's like, "Man, no, you did more than all right. You guys were massive." And then the word spreads at work, and this guy comes up to me, he goes, "Dude, I've just heard the news." And I'm like, What happened?" He goes, "Dude, I can't believe it." And then he rang all his friends. "Man, I can't believe it." So yeah, it still happens, man. From time to time, you know, someone will recognize me or come up to me, and it's just a humbling thing. Just like you, man. Let's have a coffee. Let's have a chat. And they're like, "No way." And I'm like, "Yes, way, dude. We're having a coffee, and I'm buying. It's all good." I'm like, No, I'm buying. I'm like, No, I'm buying. I can afford now. I'm not some povo musician connected to a record label making nothing. I'll buy you a coffee.
Please, sir, I want some more.
And a few months ago, you posted a picture on your Instagram with 5 people, including yourself, ex-Superheist bassist Drew Deadman, and Benny Clark, who drummed for Superheist when the band got back together in 2016, performing on the album Ghosts of the Social Dead. So please, elaborate.
Oh, dude, it was just crazy how good it was. We jammed for like 3 hours. We did all IRCR, except Never End and Drilling the Void. And then we done Hole in the Head, Get a Life, and Vultures from New Red Line. And who knows, man, if it comes to be, we're doing this for the 20th anniversary of the album. We're doing this because we want to get 5 people together that love the album. And we want to send Sean off in a way and honour him. All those beautiful things that it always should have been about.
So we have a fair idea about what this band and the music back then means to a lot of us, but the $1 million question is, at this point in time in your life, where does Identical Remote Controlled Reactions sit with you personally and creatively?
It's still a personal thing for me. It's still very dear to my heart. I'm very, very grateful when I listen to it. I remember the good times. Yeah, I get emotional when there's some songs that really hit me. Still makes my heart race, still makes me emotional, still makes me cry. And I still feel blessed, man, to be a part of such an awesome album. Truth be told, I do. And I love what I was able to create in that time.
They're beaming down from satellites. They're beaming down from satellites. They're beaming down from satellites.
Joey, wow, thank you, man, for your time and energy and for wearing your heart on your sleeve in Superheist. Because of that, we have this special, amazing album, Identical Remote Controlled Reactions. Thanks, man. I'm so glad that we could do this.
I appreciate you, man. Looking at your photo here on this Zoom chat we're having, you're a very special man, and I really appreciate your time. It means a lot, brother.
Controlled reactions. I love this job.
And there you have it, Lips, the big 2-0 and my chat with Joey Biro. Be sure to check out his new band, Raised, and their latest single, The Spider Web. Coming up in October, we have a very special re-release of the 40 Below Summer Invitation to the Dance episode, and to celebrate the album turning 21, the Life Is Peachy podcast will be joined by none other than album producer Garth Richardson, aka GG Garth, the man responsible for classic albums from Rage Against the Machine, Mudvayne, Spineshank, Kitty, and a whole bunch more. Make sure you go and show some love to the Heavy Handed podcast. Those guys are a bunch of legends. I've also been on their podcast, Season 2, Episode 2. Go check them out. They have a really great show.
What? Did we just become best friends? Yep.
There's also a reaction channel over on YouTube with a bunch of videos where my amazing girlfriend reacts to heavy music. Basically stuff she never listens to.
Wow. That was a first for me too.
Now, it has been a minute since we've had a chance to do one, but we will be back with more videos very soon.
Excellent.
And there's also an episode 20 Joey Biro themed Superheist YouTube playlist waiting for you over there too. And wait, what? Am I crazy? A second podcast on streaming platforms called the Life Is Peachy Mixtape Sessions. Yes, you heard correct. An additional podcast platform where you run the show and feature on a lip episode to promote and talk about whatever you want. So be sure to check out the Sunk Loto reunion episode with singer Jason Brown and guitarist Luke McDonald. And to let you know, there are some really exciting guests coming up on the mixtape later this year.
Idle hands are the devil's playground.
Keep my hands busy. Yeah.
Thank you to my patrons. Your support makes a huge difference. And Majika for spinning the Michael Bolton tier. And until we hang out again next month, I would love this chance to say a big thank you. Thank you for spending your time and energy with me today. I really do appreciate it. I know how valuable our time and space is, so thank you. It means a lot to me, and I hope you enjoyed yourself along the way. And, of course...
See you at the party, Richter!
Bye-bye!
You know, I can eat a peach for hours.
This episode was written, edited, and produced by myself. Recorded from the comfort of my own home.
DIY style.
With each guest calling in from wherever they happen to be around the world at that particular time. The Life Is Peachy theme song is an original tune for this podcast, written by Tim Richardson. All music by the artist featured in this episode is used with permission. Further details can be found in the description of the specific episode. All artwork is original and illustrated for the Life Is Peachy podcast by Chris Lisa Liefting.